Golden Flake from Father Joe Arempur SDB.
Today's flake, 10% fake. I happened to read an advertising board in front of a shop where the shopkeeper wanted to convey his customers the message that all his products are genuine. And therefore, he wanted to write 10% genuine, but then somehow he got mixed up with his English and he wrote 10% genuine fake.
Was it an English mistake or a Freudian slip? Corruption and duplicity have become the order of the day. Today, one goes to the extent of asking, what is the meaning of genuine? I wonder if you know that the word sincere in English language comes from the two Latin words sine, which means without, and cera, which means wax. So sine cera means without wax, sincere. It was customary in Rome to make statues out of pure white marble. And often it happens that while making or transporting a statue, a small part, maybe the small finger, part of the ear, get damaged. And soon it is replaced with the pure white wax, so that it will not be noticed at all. Sometimes, we Indians think we are the originators of adulteration. Pepper seeds are mixed with the cotton seeds. Sugar is mixed with the sand. And it goes on. But don't forget, the Romans were ahead of us. A Roman shopkeeper of statues, to convince the customers that he does not cheat at all, and the statues are made of pure white marble, wrote an inscription and placed under the statues in his shop. And it read, Sine cera, no wax at all. It became so popular that others are also starting it. Thus, it became a common practice. Now, customers became sharper still. They test the genuineness of the statue either by putting it in the sun or in the hot water.
As I narrated this story in a class of 10th standard in a school, a boy jumped up. Father, a bright idea. And I asked him, hey, what is it, my son? Then he says, Father, we must put all our teachers into a hot water tub. I asked why? He says, if you put our teachers into a hot water tub, only their clothes will be floating. You know what he wanted to say? That his teachers are all full of wax, and that will be melted when they are put in the hot water. I said, my son, that is too cruel. But tell me, why do you want to do that? Father, that boy in my class, he has 2 cars at home. One is a chauffeur-driven car. The other his father uses for his purpose. Now, when the class teacher needs a car, She just dials that number and the car comes with a driver. Now, what happens when his exam paper comes for correction? Naturally, the car has come, the marks go up. Chera or no chera, father? Isn't it wax? That girl over in my class again, she has a textile shop. And when Dasara comes, all the teachers go to that shop for buying clothes. And everybody gets a discount. When the class teacher comes, in addition to the discount, a sari or two free. Now her papers come for correction. Naturally, the marks go up because the saris have come. Isn't it wax, father? What a speech. Really, Mark Antony back on the stage. On another occasion, I was invited to a school, call it a rich school or school for the rich, for a teacher's seminar. After my sessions, I came out and was walking by the side of the school near the lawn. In front of the principal's office, there were many boys who were standing there and with their parents. And one mother was catching hold of her son and shouting, "Why did you get caught? Why did you get caught?" And I was wondering what is happening. So I called the gardener and asked him, "Hey, what's happening there?" And you know what the gardener said? "Father, these rich boys caught copying and stealing, and the principal has called the parents and they want to discuss and see how to correct these boys."
Then only it dawned on me. The mother's preoccupation was very classic and the result of today's ethics perhaps. Why did you get caught? That was the concern. The concern was not why did you steal or why did you copy. Isn't this today's dictum? Steal or tell lies, don't get caught. Politicians do it, authorities do it, yet we vote for them, we appoint such persons to high offices in any discipline, from judiciary to executives to parliament, all over. Parents are helpless today. They are in it before they realize. I remember of a mother going to punish a first standard boy for stealing a pencil from his neighbor's bag. She had her hand raised with a small stick to beat the boy. Just at that point, the father walks in, coming back from his office, and he sees the scene and he exclaims, "Honey, what is the matter? Why do you beat our young boy?" And she exclaims, "Look at our son, hardly 6 years old. He has started to steal. He went to the school with one pencil in his box. And he says the pointer broke. He needed a pencil. So he quietly took from his fellow student's box. Saying this, she was going to give boy a beating. The father stops, interrupts. He calls the boy aside and tells him, "My son, do not steal now. Whenever you need a pencil, ask daddy, and I will bring it from the office." Ha! What a message. It is not yet time for stealing as if because you will get caught. Wait a little more and you will learn. Now, I started pondering. Who is tutoring the child to steal? The question was when to start. You must learn to escape and not get caught. Some say that corruption has become our second nature. Again, I ask, who gave us this second nature? Naturally, the doctor of lies, the teacher of falsehood. He taught humanity to live a life of corruption and falsehood. We call him Satan. Satan succeeded in selling his falsehood to Adam and Eve, our forefathers. Ever since, their posterity inherited this trait. Unless we consciously and deliberately rewrite this script, it is impossible to live by truth. Now, the evil one exalts himself when he sees that most of humanity has fallen into his net. Is there any hope for the humanity to turn back to truth and justice? Yes. We have the seeds of truth, honesty, justice, and equality implanted in us. The distortions and the deviations have made falsehood triumph. Today, success is conceived as impossible without cheating and exploiting. May the innate, original God's gift in all of us be animated, give full life, and a new society will emerge. And I believe there are enough men and women of goodwill in the world, even in India, who can come together and bring about this transformation. Families and educational institutions can initiate this revolution, a value revolution, by which honesty and truth will reign supreme again. Let us instill this hope in everyone. Yes, if we all together think we can, we can.